When Michel Pereira got kicked out of the welterweight division, we had a lot of questions. What was he going to look like at middleweight? Is his speed going to matter? Is he going to be too small? Will he have power up an entire weight class? A lot of those questions have been answered because Michel Pereira has looked phenomenal. But he is stepping into a fight with the first ranked opponent at his new weight class in Anthony Hernandez. And Anthony Hernandez is on his own impressive win streak and has had his own nice streak of wins. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. And I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 99 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before I do that, let me ask you, go watch the vlog. Go watch the vlog. We're trying to expand content here. Not everything can be sitting in a chair and yelling at you. One of the things we introduced last year were Fight Foods vlogs. We cook some really good food. We have some people over. We watch the fights, and you get a view into all of that, including our live, visceral reactions to those fights themselves. For UFC 307, I went dove hunting. We got some doves. We cleaned them up. We turned them into jalapeno poppers, and then giant-ass Bo came over, and we watched those fights. Check that vlog out. This is the thumbnail for that. And if this feels like a pre-recorded video, it is. I'm here. I made it. I've got no voice, so I will keep this quick. The rest of this video is pre-recorded. I fully expected to be too hungover today to film, so I filmed it yesterday. We went to the Texas OU game, as we do every year, and we drink and drink and drink. But UFC Vegas 98 was so good to us. We did so well that I needed to come in here and do a quick update. So we dominated. Almost 5 units of net profit, a 41% ROI. The lock of the week hit. The safety parlay at plus money hit. It is insane how well we've been doing. It's insane. So I'm sorry that I don't have the voice to do a full recap of that event, but here's the short recap. The bets crushed. The picks did well. Everybody obsessed with Tatsuro Taira is an idiot. Actually, he looked pretty good, but you get my point. Overall, great night. You did well also. Some premium members absolutely cleaned up. Another massive 13,000 DraftKings takedown. Getting tagged left and right in massive tickets. So I appreciate you for the support. Watch the rest of this video. I will not sound like this. And for our Tuesday stream, I will be back to normal. I promise. Guys, don't drink. Look what happens. It's not worth it. Back to the video. That's not going to stop me from plugging premium. If you want to unlock all the picks, the bets, the round line leans, the artificial intelligence, the tools, and everything else, just go to WeWantPicks.com. It's freaking $10 for an entire month. This month, what we're kicking off right now, if you sign up, UFC Vegas 99, UFC 308, UFC Edmonton, and then UFC Vegas 100. It's only $10 for an entire month. You're going to unlock things like the data analyzer. This has insight and data all the way through the rest of this year. You're going to be able to watch the tape study for UFC 309 in November. Break down all the fights in between now and then. You're also going to have access to the line movement tracker. This is going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability of every fighter on every fight card. You're going to get the Prop Hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. You're going to have access to the DraftKings Optimizer, which will be preloaded with the best ownership projections on planet Earth. You're also going to get more than just this beautiful face and this raspy voice for some reason. We've been battling it, man. I've been filming things like crazy. It's 6th season, but I'm here. I'm toughing it out. Artem, that gentleman with the hoodie and the wild hair, he just picked a perfect Dana White Contender Series card. Not only did he pick all the winners, he picked how they would win and in what round. You can unlock all of Artem's picks, bets, breakdowns. Mine, Jacobs, the artificial intelligence, every single freaking thing that we do. It's $10 a month for one package. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. And here's a look at the events that $10 will get you. $2.50 an event, and we got quite the lineup, including a phenomenal pay-per-view next weekend. Let's go ahead and break down this card. There's only 11 fights official for right now. We did lose the Razak Al Hassan Josh Frem fight for UFC Vegas 98. Maybe that'll move. That was all because Josh is a fat loser who didn't cut weight the right way. Absolute dork, nerd, unprofessional dweeb. So they might move that fight to this week. I don't know. But right now we only have 11 fights. So let's go ahead and break it down. And opening up the UFC Vegas 99 fight card, we have Robelis Despaigne taking on Austen Lane. This is absolutely 100% the UFC trying to turn Robelis into a superstar. Fell flat in his last fight. But the reality is he can be a superstar. He is a monster of a human being. He's massive. He's 6'7", an Olympic Taekwondo medalist. He has insane power, both his hands and his feet. If you watch some of those Taekwondo matches from the Olympics or other competitions, you'll see how wildly fast, how athletic. You'll see his incredible timing. He does get hit, though, and that's that Taekwondo hands-down kind of style. But it hasn't mattered in fistfights because he's so powerful, has such a good chin, he's either sleeping you or, as we just saw in his last fight, he did fade a little bit, got taken down and ridden out. He's taken on former NFL player Austen Lane. Austen started his MMA career about 8 years ago. He's also quite big. He's 6'6". He is powerful, and obviously he's athletic. He was an NFL player. He's fast for his size. He likes to jump in, throw a flurry of strikes, and then jump back out. He can grapple as well. He uses that size and that athleticism to try to grind you to the ground. In most cases, it actually seems like he would prefer to grapple than strike. And in this fight, that has to be his path to victory because his chin doesn't always hold up. He was just knocked out by Jonata Diniz. Robelis let a lot of people down in his last fight. We were all very distraught, if you will. And I can understand lacking of the takedown defense because that's not his background. That's new to him. But the gassing is borderline unacceptable. You are a professional athlete. The least you can do is be in shape for 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes to be in shape. That's it. And you're a heavyweight. You can actually get away with 10. But he wasn't. He gassed pretty freaking quick, honestly. And Waldo Cortez Acosta is very good, but he did turn into a Nurmagomedov. This fight right here is set up for Robelis to win. He's a 36. He's a monster. The UFC wants to build him as quickly as they possibly can, and Austen is a perfect matchup. He's also very large. They'll talk about the NFL career, how explosive he is. Robelis will blow through him, knock him out because he's got no chin whatsoever, and then they're going to be like, see, Robelis is the man. Buy a pay-per-view with him on it. That's the plan. That's the UFC's plan. They're in a room right now saying, let's turn this dude into a pay-per-view monster. But in order to do that, he's got to get a bunch of wins. They rushed him too soon. They gave him a tough, durable, athletic guy that could wrestle, screwed him a little bit, so now they're resetting. Robelis wins this fight. He's minus 400. I'm going to say it feels like a discount, and then watch Austen Lane also turn into a Nurmagomedov, but Robelis should be able to get to the chin. Austin's got no chin, and sometimes it's just that easy. Then we have Alice Ardelean taking on Melissa Martinez to kick off the first of 3 back-to-back lady fights. All 3 of them are pretty entertaining and pretty straightforward. This is going to be one of the dicier ones. We got Alice Ardelean. She stepped up on short notice in her last fight, and a lot of people had a problem with that because she's internet famous. She has millions and millions of followers across multiple platforms. She received a lot of criticism because a lot of people felt, hey, you only got this job because of your followers, not your fighting ability. But then she showed up and fought her ass off. Style-wise, she's a busy striker. She'll mix in a bunch of different techniques. She can be sloppy, but she is a gamer, and she has had success doing that. She is not afraid of a dogfight. She'll absolutely chase finishes. And while she does have 6 losses, which is a lot when you're looking at it just right there, they're good quality losses. She lost to Wei Li Zhang, Tiana Belbita. I also think she won her last fight. I thought she beat Shauna Bannon, and that was a short notice step up. And in this case, Melissa Martinez is the short notice step up. She's a powerful striker. She can knock most people out at this weight class. Active striker with solid footwork. Good enough takedown defense to keep it on her feet. Her grappling isn't only defense, though. She could work in some solid trips, some uchimatas off the cage. And if she does get taken down, there's not much to offer. So she really needs that takedown defense to hold up. She's got solid submission defense, but she's not getting up on anybody anytime soon. She is coming back after a full 2 years away because of a knee injury. And I picked Alice Ardelean to win her last fight. I thought she did win that fight. I think she did enough. I thought she beat Shauna Bannon. I can't stand Shauna Bannon. I don't know why. I just can't. I can't stand her. Anyway, I thought Alice won that last fight. The strikes were about even. Alice had a couple of takedowns, some control time. She was not the cleaner, more technical fighter, but she's an absolute dog. And I think she wins here too. The constant forward pressure, the threat of the takedowns. I think a layoff on the Martinez side are all going to work in Alice Ardelean's favor. I'm going to straight lean Alice here. I'm hoping the lines take off in the other direction, meaning I hope Melissa Martinez becomes a big favorite, because if that happens, then I can bet a plus 3.5 on Alice. If you don't know what plus 3.5 is, you're basically buying points on the judges' scorecard. But they don't offer that bet on a minus 120 plus 100 line because it's too close. And obviously that line indicates somebody's going to win a round. So we need Melissa Martinez as like a 2-1 favorite. Then I can buy some points on the judges' scorecard. Alice will cover the spread, and we're good to go. So that's what I'll be hoping for. If you are a premium member, just keep your eyes peeled for that bet. It'll drop. You'll get an alert. If you're not a premium member, become one. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. It's $10. Grow up. Then we have the second of 3 lady fights. It is funny that they're just stacking the lady fight back to back to back. So I'm going to expect a full 45 minutes. All 3 of these should go to a decision. All 3 of them. Like, you could probably parlay the over 2.5 on all 3 of these women fights and be good to go. We got Jessica Penne taking on Elise Reed. Not the highest level fight we've ever seen. And that's what's going to happen towards the end of the year. I mention this every year. I mentioned it last week. The UFC is contractually obligated to offer every single fighter in their roster 3 fights a year. So what happens is towards the end of the year, they start running down, where did we not meet our contractual obligations yet? And they just start throwing out offers. And lots of people accept it. They need the money. And then we get some random ass fight cards like this. We got Jessica Penne coming back after a full year away, almost 2 years outside of the octagon. But she's been around forever. She's been fighting since 2006. That is 18 years of experience. And during those 18 years, she's obviously picked up some skills along the way. She's a pretty well-rounded fighter. She's not great at any one thing, but her boxing is okay. The grappling is solid. Style-wise, she's going to come forward, try to be technical, try to pressure you. If she can get a takedown, then great. But she's got a very low 21% takedown accuracy, and she is 0 for 9 in her last 2 fights. She's coming off that loss to Tabitha Ricci, where she looked like she just did not want to be there. Just absolutely no interest in that fight whatsoever, but we did see how tough she is, and we saw some tricky veteran savvy in there. She's taking on Elise Reed. Elise Reed's a busy striker who sets an incredible pace. She's got surprising power for this weight class. Decent grappling, very good cardio as well. She can be hot or cold, though, in her performances. If you run through her fight history, it's win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Big upset win over Corey McKenna. Then she came back and got dismantled by Sam Hughes. Hey, big upset win over Melissa Martinez. She had a knockdown, 3 takedowns, and then she lost to Loma Lookboonmee. The issue here is she's inconsistent. The good news is the losses are quality. Those are good quality people that have beaten her. She came off that loss to Lupi Godinez. Lupi Godinez is very, very good. So I think I can trust Elise Reed to fight her ass off, and she's just not going to be the better fighter in some of these matchups, but when she is the better fighter, she wins. In this case, I don't know if she's truly the better fighter because Jessica's been around forever. Jessica has all the skills, but I can almost be positive that a 41-year-old Jessica Penne, who looked disinterested in her last fight, is not going to be very interested in this fight. I think Elise Reed comes forward, stays busy, gets in her face, and wins this fight. I think Jessica's here for a payday. I think Jessica's here to stay busy, doing something with her life, has to make some money. But Jessica's not here like, I need to grind and win and work my way up. And this isn't fact, right? It's all speculation, but it's based off of what we saw in her last fight. She did not look like she cared. Elise Reed does care. I think Elise Reed wins this fight. She's the pick. Minus 150 seems like decent value, right? If we zoom out, we have a 31-year-old fighting a 41-year-old. We have a 31-year-old who is trying to work towards something against somebody at the tail end of their career trying to build the OnlyFans. And that's not a slight. Build your OnlyFans. Everybody needs a post-UFC career. Some people open gyms. Some people turn into, commentators. Other people are going the digital content creation route, and that's fine. But when you're doing it simultaneously, it's hard to keep up with both things. I don't think Jessica's going to be all in. I think Elise Reed wins this fight. I think the value is there, and I think the over 2.5 is as safe as you're going to get. Then we have the final lady fight on the card. We got Joselyne Edwards taking on Tamires Vidal. I'm very high on Joselyne Edwards. Always have been. I don't know why. I think I appreciate the skills. She's gritty. She fights her ass off. Good kickboxer, uses range well. Nice variety of strikes. She does prefer to kick, right? She'll kick more than she punches. If you can get inside the kicks, inside the range, and you can make a fight ugly and dirty and in her face, you can have some success. But that's not an easy thing to do. She manages range really well. The knock on her has been her takedown defense, and it did fail her in her last fight. She has offensive takedowns as well, but she's typically looking to keep fights standing. She's taking on Tamires Vidal. Bowling ball Tamires Vidal. Former soccer player, BJJ brown belt. She immediately starts working forward, looking for takedowns. She throws typical just big looping overhands, and then she'll pressure you to the cage where she looks for control and takedowns. Once she gets it to the ground, she's chasing submissions. She is dangerous on top and can be dangerous off her back, but not as dangerous. She's just always looking for something. Her striking is almost non-existent. She is tough enough to just eat shots while marching forward, diving at legs. She's coming off back-to-back losses, most recently to Melissa Gatto, where she was taken down twice and finished by a jiu-jitsu nerd. And that's what makes this a tricky fight, because Tamires Vidal has a very logical path to victory here. Just pressure forward and get the takedowns. Joselyne can be taken down. She doesn't love pressure. Tamires does both of those things well. She pressures well. She gets takedowns. But Tamires has also been a bit of a bust. Losing to Montserrat Rendon the way she did was a bit surprising. Then coming back to get knocked out by a BJJ specialist, also surprising. So I'm going to have to pick Joselyne here because I think she's the overall better fighter, and I think she could dance around on the outside, light up Vidal's legs, and that should prevent some of these takedown attempts and slow her down as the fight goes on. Joselyne Edwards is going to be the pick, and I think we have another safe over 2.5. Then we have Brad Katona taking on Jean Matsumoto. This is actually a very, very good fight. Brad Katona is a 2-time Ultimate Fighter winner. He's quietly been building a very good resume for himself. He's a mobile striker. He's got good footwork, good volume. And while he is primarily a striker, he's aware enough of what happens in fistfights. He makes solid decisions that he'll transition to wrestling when he needs to. He's got great low kicks, solid takedown defense, plenty of cardio. He's coming off that bounce back win over Jesse Butler, where he was all in on the wrestling. And that might matter here because he's taking on Jean Matsumoto. This guy is a very well-rounded guy. In fact, he's got a BJJ black belt and a very high-level Muay Thai striker. He can initiate offensive takedowns as well. He's got power doubles. He'll shoot singles. He'll run the pipe. He'll take you down off the cage. If he is taken down, if he ends up on bottom, he stays busy and he makes you work. He's a creative striker with a variety of kicks and counters. He does get hit though, but he's plenty tough that it doesn't matter. He's got plenty of cardio that he won't slow down. He's coming off that submission win over Dan Argueta, where he was taken down 9 times, but ultimately found that guillotine. I am not as high on Jean Matsumoto as others are. He's definitely very good. He's definitely very well-rounded. But if Dan Argueta had a little bit more cardio, just a little bit more cardio, Jean Matsumoto is no longer undefeated. Brad Katona is the exact type of guy that's going to come in here and play spoiler. He's busy on the feet. He'll attempt and sneak in some takedowns. I am going to pick Jean here because I do think if he lets his hands go, he's going to look great. And he doesn't let his hands go. He doesn't freeze up worrying about what's going to come his way. He just fights. And I trust Jean Matsumoto to make Brad work. Brad is not as good of a wrestler as Dan Argueta is. So I think Jean will have some success. I think Jean can win here. Brad lost to Garrett Armfield because of Garrett's volume. And I think more of the same could happen here. But I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of people are absolutely in love with Jean Matsumoto and he's so good in this. And he might be. But Brad Katona, look at that guy. Look at him. Look him in the eyes. This is the type of guy that has no problem coming in here with the most boring game plan on the planet to get a win. And that's a good thing. If you're looking for dogs, that is a good thing. Brad Katona could absolutely win this fight. This might be a plus 3.5. Brad Katona is a durable guy. I don't think he's getting finished here. So now we have a decision fight. Can Brad Katona win one round? I think so. When those props drop, I'll take a look. If the plus 3.5 is affordable, I might do a little sprinkle. If the odds makers get this wrong and they set the line at 1.5 because Jean is a finisher, well, then the over 1.5 is the way to go. I'm definitely going to have some action on this fight, and it's not going to be Jean money line. I'll tell you that much. Make sure you have your alerts turned on in the Discord, and we do have a surprise coming for you shortly if you're a premium member. I'm not going to say it here, but big time surprise that'll help quite a bit with the alerting and being informed instantly when we place bets. If you're not premium, become premium. WeWantPicks.com. Then we have Matheus Nicolau doing everything he can to stay relevant in this sport, taking on Asu Almabayev. And I know that was a little bit of a harsh intro, but the reality is Matheus Nicolau is squarely on the downslope. This is not a forgiving sport. Matheus Nicolau is a good, clean striker. He's incredibly technical. He's got great grappling, but he has no chin whatsoever, and that is a problem. Because even though he has 10 takedowns and 7 UFC wins, in order to get the takedowns, you need to threaten with the striking. But in order to threaten with the striking, you need some decent chin, so in case you get hit, you're not just unconscious on the floor. Unfortunately, for Matheus Nicolau, the chin has not been there. And without the chin, there's not the striking. Without the striking, I don't know if he's going to have the offensive takedowns. And without the offensive takedowns, how the hell is he winning this fight? I'm spoiling the pick here. He's taking on Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev is a dominant grappler who also has flashy striking. He can control that striking range with good in and out movement. He'll even work in a spinning attack or two, and then he'll shoot his takedowns. Big, giant takedowns. He's got phenomenal control on top. He doesn't really go looking for submissions, but he does do a great job grabbing them in scrambles. He is strong. He sets a nice pace. He's got plenty of cardio, and he's coming off his third UFC win, this time a dominant grappling showcase over Jose Johnson. The betting line here is surprising to me. Asu is only a minus 162 favorite. And I understand that Nicolau is getting knocked out, right? He's not getting submitted. And it's not exactly like Asu Almabayev is this dominant knockout artist, but he can knock people out. He's got the spinning techniques. He has some power in the straight punches as well. I don't think anybody would be surprised if Matheus was knocked out by Asu Almabayev. But even if he's not, even if striking doesn't matter here at all, Asu is a phenomenal wrestler who will have plenty of submission defense. Asu wins this fight 9 out of 10 times. Minus 162 is a bargain. Asu Almabayev wins this fight. I'm very, very confident in that. I don't know why we have a discount, but that discount's not going to last much longer. Before we break down this main card, let me break down my wallet and give you $50. That was an awkward transition, and that doesn't really make a ton of sense, but you get the point. If you go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, if you sign up with any one of these sportsbook affiliates, we send you $50 as a thank you. You use the link, you make an account, you make a deposit. They're going to pay me. I'm going to slice off some of that money, and I'm going to give it right back to you. WeWantPicks.com/bets. And then you can use that money to become a premium member if you aren't already. You can use it for whatever you want. But if you became a premium member, I would love it. We have almost 4,000 premium members. Our average premium member tenure is incredibly long, and that's because people sign up. They see the tools, the insight, the picks, the bets. They see the artificial intelligence, the fantasy stuff. They see the wild suite that we offer you for one single low price for an entire month, and they stick around. So I appreciate you if you're a premium member, and if you're not, take a peek. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10. One of our pride points is the data analyzer. There's a whole suite of people that love doing their own research, and this is quite literally the greatest research tool in this space. It has anything you could ever want. And if you use the data analyzer and there's something you don't want, let me know. We coded this from scratch. We can add things whenever we want. Here's the 4 events you're going to get for that $10. UFC 308 is next weekend. Obviously, UFC Vegas 99 is the event we're talking about here. Then we have UFC Edmonton with the return of Amir Albazi. And then UFC Vegas 100, they just announced that main event. All of this, a million other things, only $10 for an entire month. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. And I open this video with a please go watch the vlog plea. Well, in the vlogs, we have a mail day. People will send us stuff, we'll open the stuff. Sometimes it's food, and I eat it. Other times, they're promoting their small business. They're sharing their letters, their insights, their thoughts. If there's anything you want to send, we'll read the letters, we'll do all the things, we'll shout out your business. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 75078. This card only has 11 fights, so the main card is only 5 fights deep. And they may add to this. I imagine we'll get a last-minute addition or two. But for now, this is what we got. And the opener of the main card should be a pretty fun fight. We got Darren the Damage. In case you didn't know, that was his nickname. Just look at this chest. Taking on Daniel Pineda. Darren Elkins is the dog. By the time you're watching this, he may not be, because I don't know why he is the dog. This even money fight would make sense to me. Darren a slight favorite would make sense. Darren underdog doesn't make complete sense. This guy is incredibly tough. He literally wears it as a badge of honor. He carved it into his chest. That was intense. He's always live for a finish. He's the definition of a grinder. He comes forward. He's got heavy strikes. He'll close the distance. He'll cut off the cage. He'll work in some grappling. Pretty good wrestler, incredible top pressure. He's coming off that submission win over TJ Brown, where he had 5 takedowns. And he's not young, but neither is his opponent. Daniel Pineda is 39. He's a feast or famine fighter. He has only been to 2 decisions in his 44-fight career. He's a very good wrestler with solid grappling. He comes out fast. He's incredibly dangerous for about 3 minutes, like Big Ange in bed. He quickly fades, and then he can finish shortly after that. Damn, that is like Big Ange in bed. But his initial burst is powerful. It's exciting. People enjoy the initial burst. In all seriousness, no, he's got aggressive grappling. He's got good hands. And early on, he is a very real problem for a lot of people. He's coming off that loss to Nathaniel Wood, where he was dropped, and he only went 1 for 6 in takedown attempts. And like I said, I was surprised that Darren Elkins is a dog here. Sure, he's old. He's not young. But so is Pineda. They're both old. Elkins is the more durable of the two. He can fight for a full 15 minutes without fading. The only concern here is the early wrestling success from Daniel Pineda. But even then, it's not going to last long. Elkins should be able to take over after that, even if he gives up the first round. So Darren Elkins is going to be the pick, and I have a bet on him at plus 102. I don't know how much longer he's going to be the underdog, but for now, he is. So I threw some money at him. Then we have Brady Hiestand with the perv stash taking on Jake Hadley. I don't understand that mustache. He's like, hey, I want to look like a fireman. Ooh, I'm in the Village People. Let me grow half this stash. I don't get it. And maybe if I could grow a mustache like that, I would, but I can't. So I don't. And I just don't want anybody thinking that I drive a van with no windows. But we got Brady Hiestand. Other than the mustache, pretty good looking guy. Good wrestler as well. He does a good job establishing positions, racking up control time. His boxing is just okay. He can struggle with pressure on the feet, but he's got great scramble skills, plenty of cardio. He's very strong. He's an absolute dog. And he's coming off that win over Garrett Armfield where he was dropped and almost finished, but then he gutted it out and got the submission. He's taking on little baby Jake Hadley. This guy is a striker. He rounds himself out with slick BJJ. He's got solid boxing, good timing on his feet, then decent takedowns and aggressive BJJ on the ground. Hadley is a very good fighter. He had titles in multiple regional promotions. He can strike, he can grapple, he can stick to a high pace for 15 full minutes, but he is a little small. He's coming off that upset win over Callan Loughran, where he had the striking, the volume, and he stayed off the cage pretty well. Jake Hadley's win over Callan was frustrating as shit to watch that, but it also is going to trick a lot of people into thinking that Jake Hadley's better than he is. That was more Callan being an absolute dipshit than it was Jake doing anything special. Brady showed us how gritty he is, how slick his takedowns can be. He's going to be bigger, stronger. He's not going to be hesitant. Brady's the pick. And this is another situation where he's minus 147 right now. I think those odds are going to widen, and I think that value is going to disappear on us. Brady should be able to dominate this fight. Should. Then we have Sumudaerji taking on our boy, Charles Johnson. And I say our boy because Charles Johnson was just on our call-in show. The show that we do Thursday nights live that you can call in like old school radio and talk to us. Well, Charles Johnson joined that show. He took calls from the viewers. It was a ton of fun. He took the fan questions. He talked about his UFC career overall, and it was a great episode, so check that out. Now I like him a lot more. I didn't dislike him before, but now I'm like, wow, Charles Johnson's fucking sweet. Let's go ahead and break down this fight, though. We got Sumudaerji. This guy's a fast striker, laser accuracy, solid volume. He doesn't have much power, but he is so fast, and his movement is so well done that he can get stoppages. He's got that great in-and-out style. He can out-decision a lot of people who are not looking to take him down. He has an impressive 100% takedown accuracy, but that is a bit of a misleading stat because he only has one single takedown attempt in his UFC career. He's coming off that submission loss to Tim Elliott where he was taken down and then submitted in the first round. He's taking on Charles Johnson, busy technical striker, decent takedown defense, really nice hand speed. He's got nice output of almost 5 significant strikes per minute, and he can keep that pace for a full 15 minutes. He is 5-4 in the UFC, but all 4 of those losses are to quality fighters who turned into wrestlers. He is now one of the most active fighters on planet Earth. I forget the stat off the top of my head, but he's got like 10 fights in 18 months or something obscene. Everybody talked about Poaton's activity, Kevin Holland's activity. Charles Johnson quite literally has more activity. Some of those fights were pre-UFC, which is why they may not be counting it, but Charles Johnson is busy as shit, and he's looking for his 4th win in 2024. I expect Charles to do what he does. Pressure forward, be the cleaner striker, take over as the fight goes on. Obviously, Sumudaerji is dangerous as hell. But we saw that Charles can be an absolute dog. He survived an onslaught in the Maxim fight and then took over. Charles is the pick. I am very confident in that pick. So let's see if Chuck can get himself the 4th win in 2024. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Rob Font looking like he just saw a ghost taking on Kyler Phillips looking like a woman with a beard. And that's not an insult. He's pretty. That's like a Neutrogena commercial and maybe it's Maybelline. Look at that guy. Look at these two. These guys couldn't be farther on. Oh my God. Dude, if I reverse these images, this is a before and after picture for fentanyl. And I'm not accusing Rob Font of anything, but this was not a great day to take a picture of Rob Font. Look at this picture. I'm just realizing, look at this. This should be, let's get to the breakdown. The things racing through my brain right now. Anyway, we got Rob Font. Gritty, tough, technical. Look at him. That's a gritty man. I'm going to say solid chin. It's not amazing, but it's good enough, especially at his age. He doesn't have a ton of power offensively. He's primarily a boxer, so you're not going to see a lot of kicks. He doesn't really need to kick, though, because his hands are fast. They're clean. He'll work in and out of the pocket before most fighters even know that he was there. He has fantastic volume at almost 6 significant strikes landed per minute. Decent takedown defense. He's hit by fewer than 4. And he's coming off that loss to Figueiredo where he was taken down 4 times. He's taken on Kyler Phillips. Very diverse striker. Very well-rounded fighter overall. He can strike. He can grapple. His feet are always moving. And that makes him difficult to hit and to take down. Most of the time, Kyler does a very good job mixing things up. But he is willing to slug it out and put on a show. That can be a problem in some of his matchups. He has 3 performance of the night bonuses and overall a very well-rounded guy with plenty of cardio that he weaponizes. He's coming off that win over Pedro Munoz where the striking volume was absolutely incredible. Rob Font is part of that New England cartel gym. And the New England cartel fall off needs to be studied in MMA gyms everywhere. They're like the Blockbuster Video of MMA. At one point, that name meant something, but then they didn't evolve with the times and they're being left behind. Rob Font, Calvin Kattar, a bunch of others were doing incredibly well. They were always well prepared. They were doing things, moving up the ranks. They had quality wins over great opponents. And now all of a sudden, a few years later, none of them can defend a takedown. Literally, nobody at that gym can defend a takedown. It makes no sense whatsoever. If you want to beat somebody from the New England cartel, shoot a takedown. That's what's going to happen here. Kyler Phillips is going to be fast on the feet. He'll mix in some wrestling, and he's the pick. He's going to make Rob look old. He's going to make Rob look slow, and he's probably going to get a bunch of takedowns. I don't understand how you can have that success. Rob Font and Calvin Kattar were supposed to be like the ones to bring that gym forward. Hey, look, we created 2 very high-level UFC strikers from scratch. And then nothing happened. They didn't evolve. There's other UFC fighters in that gym. And run through it. And go watch their fights and tell me if any of them defend takedowns. It's crazy. It's crazy. And New England has good wrestling. Now, we're not talking about Arkansas. New England has good wrestling. I don't know why nobody in that gym could defend a takedown. Then we have the main event of the evening. A great main event. Michel Pereira taking on Anthony Hernandez. I love this matchup. I think this is a great fight. Both of them are on solid win streaks. They're very different. They fight very differently. And we're going to find out who actually deserves the higher ranking because they're ranked 13 and 14 respectively. We'll start with the dog, the 14 rank. Michel Pereira. This guy's an absolute beast. The majority of his career was at 170, but as I opened this video with, he kept missing weight. They kicked him out of the weight class. Now he's at 185, and he has rattled off 3 dominant wins in a row. Even though he has 42 professional fights, this guy is only 31 years old. He looks old. He's not old. He's got plenty of career ahead of him. He's got powerful hands, solid wrestling, solid BJJ, incredible athleticism. His athleticism was on full display in his last fight where he ragdolled Ihor Pereira and then did a backflip onto his body and then submitted him. He's taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. He's a good grappler. He averages almost 7 takedowns per fight. He's got solid wrestling with real entries. He is a BJJ black belt, and although he is willing to strike, that is not his path to victory. He is riding a 5-fight win streak, with the most recent being a submission over dangerous striker Roman Kopylov. And Anthony Hernandez is definitely good. He's defied the odds more than once, but I just don't see him winning here. Michel Pereira is too strong, too dangerous. He's also too good of a grappler to just be taken down and submitted. And frankly, that's Anthony's only path to victory. He's not going to outstrike Michel Pereira. That's not going to happen. He can't match the speed. He can't match the power. So he needs to grapple. He's got to weather the storm. Hope that Michel fades. But when have we seen Michel really fade? It hasn't been for years. He did fade early against Tristan Connolly. And now years later, we've seen Michel in plenty of decisions, pushing at pace. We've seen him wrestle. We've seen him strike. We've seen him flip. We've seen him be controlled. Michel Pereira is by far the more dynamic fighter here, by far the more dangerous fighter here. He's got to be the pick, and I bet on him at plus 135. I was shocked to see that he was an underdog. I don't know. I get people love Anthony Hernandez, high-level black belt. The Rodolfo Vieira fight put Anthony Hernandez on the map, right? He got the shit kicked out of him, stayed tough, and ended up winning because he's always in shape, and he doesn't quit. but neither does Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira is the pick, and I think we're going to rattle off a couple of underdog wins in some main events. And here's your next 4 main events. Obviously, we have this card. Then we have UFC 308, phenomenal pay-per-view. Then we have UFC Edmonton with the return of Emir Albazi. And then we have UFC Vegas 100 with Neil Magny and Carlos Prates. And the reason I'm showing you that these are the next 4 events is because I'm going to tell you to become a premium member. It's $10 for a month. That entire month will get you those 4 events. You're going to unlock all the tools like the data analyzer, the line movement tracker, the prop hunter, the DraftKings optimizer preloaded with the ownership projections. You're going to get Artem giving you his picks, bets, and breakdowns for PFL, Dana White Contender Series, LFA, Bellator. He just picked a perfect card. If you watched the Tuesday Night Contender Series and you saw all of Artem's picks and breakdowns, not only did he pick all the winners, he told you how they were going to win and in what round, and he was absolutely spot on. You're also going to unlock the artificial intelligence and a million other things. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's only $10 for an entire month. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for being here. Sorry I didn't record this live on Sunday morning, knowing what happened at UFC Vegas 98, but every now and then, Big Ange needs to drink himself stupid, regret it for a few weeks, and then get back on track. And that's what we're doing here. Thanks for the watch. We'll see you the rest of this week for all the other content.